Biggest change really is the staffing, because we reduced it from having that double split over. We reduced it a bunch. We should probably be more in the $40,000-ish by now region. So, we're looking good. There's still some expenses, like I said in the email that I sent out to you, that are outstanding. They're not really outstanding, but they're still floating out there because I got to pay them. So we'll probably be looking at, depends on if we have rainy days like we've had the past 2 days, but we'll probably be looking somewhere right around even, I think, by the time we get through the whole season. So,
This weekend looks good. I think we should be good.
okay, cool. Yeah, if we have a couple of good days, that'll help as well. So I think, all those changes were, kind of worth it. We got through it. We did better than most communities. We powered through it. I know the treasurer's
I
happy.
was thrilled, because I know we were kind of planning for the worst, hoping for the best.
Yes.
I think the best was probably break even.
Yep.
So we're above that right now, and it could be come in
Yeah.
about where we thought best case would be. So, any other conversation regarding financials? Okay. Mr. Liaison, do you have any comments? I know GFAC's near and dear to your heart, so I want to give you the opportunity.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yep. Great. Okay, let's move to budget update.
With the budget update, I was just updating you. Jenny sent out the budget features to us on Monday or Tuesday, so I was hoping to have it done by today, but I'm not going to have it done by today. It'll probably be like Friday, I think, so I'll send it out to you. But we should have a whole nother meeting to talk about it before then, so I just want to kind of give you the heads up. So I'll give you guys plenty of time to look over.
Okay.
It's kind of like a freeze is what we're looking at, possibly saving 11%. They're still kind of looking at that. That's the projections, is we'll be down 11% next year. So I don't know how we're going to do that. We're already so our budget. So we'll try to work some ways, and I'll try to make it pretty evident so you guys can see where, if we are making those cuts, where they're. And just looking at that budget, the main things dollars wise that we're taking a hit. The DAC is taking a pretty good hit, which we all kind of knew that, but we have savings for that, so I'm not really worried about it. The other one is, so the rentals took a hit, but since we changed our prices, this is the first full year when they actually are prices, and they weren't, because usually we rent a year ahead, so we did it 2 years ago. This is the first full year. So we're already going to be up from what we were. So actually, we're going to look good this year and be awesome next year. So kind of got lucky on that one, I would say. So
Good.
and that's all I really have for that. I should be sending that out within the next week, I would say, for sure.
With regards to Blanton, where are we at on the gutters?
The gutters, so going back and forth, I reached out to David Kroll in the Blanton house. That's the only one I have the hiccup on, because we were going to do copper, and then he's like, can you save what is there? So we're looking at possibly saving what's there, trying to fix it, and then the backside that are the leaf guard, we're going to try to do a copper look so that it wouldn't change any of the looks on it. So, which will be like half the price. So it could be really good. So somewhere more in the like $8,000 to $10,000 range instead of the like $21,000 to $25,000 range. So it will be a huge savings.
What was his hiccup on replacing it with the copper?
He doesn't want to lose the patina.
That should occur, though, over time.
Yeah, I know, and that's what I said
Right.
too. But he said if there's any way that we can save it, he said do it. So he's looking to see if we can do a kind of like a knockoff version on the back, because we put leaf guard gutters on it maybe before I was here, maybe 15 years ago, and they are junk. They just fill full of leaves and debris, and then you can't wash them out. So then, yeah, and you got this opening this big to try to clean them out. So we need to replace those no matter what, because that's where I think my leak is coming from. So we're gonna get the roof and all of that. And then kind of rolling in to the roofing on that one too.
Yeah, so
is-
last thing I want to do is replace the roof and not the gutters and still have an issue.
Yeah. I plan on doing both. So, Jesse said he wants to do it 3 weeks out, so that'll give us time to figure out the gutters. And the gutter guys, he's like, oh, I can get to there tomorrow if you want. So I'm like, all right. So all we got to do is just get David Kroll to kind of give me some wisdom on what he's okay with.
So is it his decision or the board's decision on putting new gutters on? I guess
Well, I
that's
mean,
my question.
that's up to you guys. I was just
Man.
looking to save money, because it's $25,000 just for
Right.
the gutters and $8,000 for the roof.
He through the Preservation Society, or
Yeah.
what's his role? Okay.
He's a historian, engineer, or architect, right? Or
Architect,
I think,
he's
yeah.
an architect.
So basically, he's given the blessing to say you don't have to.
Yeah,
He wants to, I understand he wants to keep them
keep the front.
so it looks like the dark green. Just
Yeah.
putting brand new copper on. Salt water. Can.
Where you can, I think, stop it.
But it will happen naturally too.
Yeah, 2 years.
My thought is if we're going through all this heartache and hassle, place them, but
I was even
That's my
thinking,
thoughts.
we could wait till the end of the year and then do a payment this year and a payment next year. That way, that expense is spread out. And Jesse even said if he wanted to, he can do the roof to where we can put the gutters in after, and then we could do both sides. So, side and then the other side. So do you want me to, David sends over his recommendation, I can just ask for a general consensus from you guys?
What's the downside?
Or the gutters?
what are the condition of the existing ones?
So, front ones are a little rough. The biggest thing for me is they're 4-inch gutters.
Yeah. So you don't have the capacity.
Yeah,
6-inch gutter.
6-inch, it's gonna be easier to clean, easier to everything, plus we're putting grates over the top too. So, that should solve a lot of our debris issues. Really kinda open to either one, save them, because what we could do is do new on the back. And when we find out those are successful, just fix the front the same way. We're gonna have to keep our gargoyle things on the left and right, no matter what, because that's part of the period. So if we put new gutters on, we'll have green gargoyles, but what I was telling them is, maybe we could take those off and polish them. That way the copper would come back and then they would fade. Like a overcomplicated, easy thing.
So the lifespan on the current ones, it still could last a long time if you went through the process?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the windows. You're kind of polishing it and getting through because you want to keep that period correct as much as you can. Where the new is really following it, you're just putting new in of the same kind of model.
Larger
It's just
capacity.
really expensive. Yeah, the capacity issues are the big thing.
Have you looked to see what, Rays or whoever would take those in and give us a, recycle dollar amount too? I mean,
We had
could
looked
probably
at
get-
if they would recycle when they take it off, so they would give us a credit back
Mm-hmm.
for that copper towards.
We don't know what that approximation would
I think
be.
it was like $1,500 or something like that.
What's the wishes of the board? This is a new discussion about saving the old, smaller one. No, I don't have 4-inch gutters on my
I don't have, I got 6-inch on mine.
I kind of think we ought to save the money.
Well, we could do 2 phases, too. I mean, you're spending it either way, but it spreads it out so it's not as much of a hit, because Blanton House is gonna get a hit from the amount of, it'll probably be 15,000, I think, under what it normally is. But it still should turn a profit, even with the full expenses of everything. Yeah, we should still be in a good place. Plus, the Blanton House is profits are between 10 to 15, but we usually try dying house because no one we try to take that money, throw it back into the house. Of the house. We've got a few projects that we're looking at maybe for the future. We talked about a barn, maybe a parking lot. And it's great, but it we want to keep that. Want to wait until.
Do we have any comments from the public? If you do, name and address. Any thoughts?
So Will, from a maintenance standpoint, I mean, do you see any problem with saving the money and going forward, or would you rather?
I guess I'm kind of torn on it. The look of the house is what sells it, you know. So I don't know if it would take away from it or not. If it was shiny, it may even enhance it. I mean, it could go either way. That's kind of the hard thing. To me, what I'm looking at is I want to protect the house. Whatever that is, I want to protect the house because it's way harder to fix the inside than the outside. And we have talked about the updating of the kitchen. That's where my leak is. Hoping the roof.
Today's home construction, no one puts 4-inch gutters on
Very
any
true.
home, even the smallest of
But
homes.
in that same token, no one puts 3-tab shingles on the top, which I have to do as well. So they only have a 20, 25-year life
Yeah.
cycle.
Too bad we
where-
can't put copper or roof on. That would be awesome.
I thought about, you know, what if we could go back with the
Metal.
slate, which I'm sure at one point it was some sort of slate,
Yeah.
you know. But I mean, you're looking at $1,000 for the roof. We have 25,000 in copper gutters and 100,000 in the slate roof. It would look pretty though.
If I remember, when we got the quote, it was significantly less than what we anticipated, or at least it came back with another lesser number.
Yeah, the roofing was low.
Was it the
The
roofing?
gutters, so 2 guys, this gutter guy is actually cheaper on regular gutters, but more expensive on the copper. And then the other guy I had was more expensive on the roof, but cheaper on the gutters. Both of them shop out their gutter guys, so very hard for me to exchange the gutter guys. So that's what makes it kind of hard, because I'd rather go with maybe the other gutter guy, but I know this guy does good work too. So I'd rather have something that I can. It's going to be
Yeah.
solid for a while.
Done in a period of time that's acceptable. Like maybe some doors and windows.
So if you don't put the new gutters on,
So the front is, the only thing is the front is where I'm not having any leaks. It's the back. The leaf guard gutters are my biggest problem. So if we wanted to, we could do the back, get it all done, because you won't be able to see anything except for the flat, one little side on the flat roof porch of the copper, if we did the whole back.
Would he honor his price if we did the back first and then front?
The only thing he wouldn't would be the price of the copper, because the price of the copper is
Yeah.
this the whole time. But I mean, I'm okay with that. If we may end up saving some money, or we may find out it fixes the problem and we can keep the patina on the front. And then maybe in a year or two, we say, oh, this one turned green. And then we can fix the front one.
Board. Do we have a consensus, or do you need a motion, or do we have a consensus of work with it, replace the back half and we'll
Yeah. Consensus
Well-
is fine.
see how it goes in next year? Or the front gutters? That doesn't, change anything with the roofing contractor
No.
though, correct?
I'll probably like that, because that means that whole side where I have my questionable area will be good when he's done with it.
I will say, I had my roof replaced this
Oh, yeah.
summer, and the roofers actually slid down and slammed into the gutters, so they had to replace them on their own dime. Maybe, I don't wish that on anyone, but that might occur, and we might end up with all the gutters regardless.
You bet my copper gutters replaced.
All right, is that all we need then on?
Yeah, thank
one?
you too, by the
Okay.
way. That cancels
Okay.
the roofing one as well.
Man, I really went sidebar on that one, didn't I? I wasn't even on the
That's all
agenda.
right.
Amphitheater update, old business?
Okay, so we're at a better place than where we were. So engineers went back and forth. We've got anchor bolt drawings. The drawings went to the structural guy. He ordered the anchor bolts. I forwarded the drawing to Kai, and he's like, "What happened?" So they redid, and they made the drawings almost into like a concrete bucket. And so he's like, how do I even form that? So we're going to meet with the structural guy on the architect side to try to figure out a solution, because both the metal company and the concrete guy said that in their 30, 40 years experience, they've never seen a footer built this way. So back to the drawing board a little bit. We're going to reach out and try to see if there's a compromise in there. I guess what they're scared of is the lift of the amphitheater, because of the way it is, and the state fair fiasco there. So we actually added a foot onto the bottom and a foot onto the top of concrete too. So I'm going to have some extra concrete costs, but luckily we're still going to be under the 150,000. So I'm hoping to push forward. It gets delivered next week on the 30th. And I'm hoping to pour concrete the following week, no matter what they're doing. We should have a compromise complete by then. And then it's just a matter of Kai, if he does it this way, we'll have to pour 3 times. So he'll have it done probably in that week. My electrician's got to come in and route some of the pipes. And he will take over from there after Kai's done, and then stuff too. So somewhere between 3 and 4 weeks is what they suggested. If everything goes well. Nothing has gone well. It's always this game.
I'm amazed we just have a covered porch that we've got an issue with.
Yeah, we've got lots of concrete in those those footers. Like, whew. But it should be pretty safe by the time we're done. Definitely, maybe learned my lesson a little bit on trying to make it pretty.
Question or comments?
It's worth the wait. I'm hoping to reach that deadline of September 11th, that concert. I would love to have it done by then. So hopefully, cross our fingers, all those bumps at least don't push us out past that. But plan B, we can always go down to the concrete.
Do we have anything scheduled beyond? September
Yeah,
11th?
actually, there's a benefit concert the next day after the 11th. We kind of let them know, they're like, hey, we're not giving you any 100% that it'll
Right.
be done. But they could always drop down to the lower pad. And if that was the case, we wouldn't.
We typically have a lot of good weather even past that date.
Yeah.
Might be nice to have something, if we can have something that can float in dates.
And I
down
think
there.
we'll know too, once we get the steel on the footers. Then we'll know the whole build out. Once we get that part done, all the other stuff's not really questionable.
Given with all the stuff that's going on, that might be a good positive for everyone to kind of rally around.
And
If we can do anything at all, I think it'd be good to do it this fall.
And we're looking at a remedy for the evenings in Ellis because of the mask thing. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna just grid out the grass. That will be kind of our 250 plus thing, so pick your square. And then, have the space in there, because that way we can still do everything we wanna do, because we don't wanna cancel the concert. It's Leonard Skinner too.
One,
Yeah, because the partnership's gonna have to
Kinda.
do the same thing. They're gonna have to come up with a plan or whatever.
Cover band type?
No, this was 4.5. Yeah. So it would be great if he changed it. But, and it all goes back to the Board of Health too, so we just have to, we're really good, we have a good relationship with the Board of Health, so it's like, hey, what do we need to do to get this? Yeah, I think so too. It's Leonard Skinner.
yeah. Along with the amphitheater, one of the things that I've been thinking about was Halloween. What happens with that, with everything going on, if they even have
Oh,
a
yeah.
Halloween, if people feel safe to do that. This is done, do we do something where we're giving out everything in a sanitary way, and everything's kind of shifted down to the park for a Halloween night?
Yeah.
So-
We could do like a trail walk or something to wear it.
That should be-
Yeah.
Exactly.
Bazing!
I know, yeah.
You're always one step ahead, Jimmy.
It's a good idea though.
Just a thought, because I think a lot of people may not even get to go.
Yeah, we
That
don't
might give
want to.
that- if we
If
can
we
do
can
something-
figure out some way, even like a drive-through.
Some sort of a community
Yeah.
type.
Yeah, something or other. I think that would be pretty cool. Pretty easy too.
Throw candy
Reverse parade. We throw it at the floats.
Let's get Little League out there. Throwing on-
Anyway, maybe we can talk about that.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions on amphitheater? Let's move on to front sign. Contract.
Contract sign. No going back now. We are meeting with the asphalt guy tomorrow. He's supposed to give us a price on that trail. They are putting together a timeline for me, the sign company. So the only thing in that timeline, we have to figure out electricity and Ethernet. So once we figure out those two things and who's going to run what where, and I should have a timeline for it. Super excited about this one too. One, finishing the trail. That's a really big one. And then two, just having that sign. I think it's going to be really a signature piece for the park. And we'll really be able to start advertising a lot of stuff and hopefully be able to generate a little bit. Set some of the things we've had.
With amphitheater and the front sign, the trails, everything's budget-wise, everything's available.
Yeah, we've saved quite a bit too, so I think some of that will help. And then some of these, the town is helping with some of those dollars as well. So I think those kind of things will offset each other. We should be really fine.
Questions on the front sign? Been a long process, but exciting that it's finally here, yeah. Okay, let's move on to evenings and Ellis.
So I kind of gave you an update on that one. We really want to have the concerts, and we'll figure out a little. It's the moral of the story. And I believe people will still come out. I mean, the partnership, usually we only have like maybe 100, 125 for a concert when it's fair week. Then we had Levi having a concert out at Heritage Lake. We still had like almost 300. So I think, they will come, especially with the name recognition. And the band is like super excited, like they made the big time or something. They feel like, they're like, you're not canceling it, are you? But I think we could reschedule if we needed to, but I think we move forward until someone tells us no.
Drove by Flip Flop Dave, it seemed like it was a full crowd. I
Yeah,
don't
we
know.
We,
Was
Yeah,
less than last year for sure.
well,
But there were a lot more
gradu,
swimming.
yeah.
and we had graduation, ended up being on the same day,
Yes.
so
Yes,
that
it did.
killed
Yeah.
us. So it was kind of a blessing though, because it made it easier to do
Little
a little bit
manageable.
of distancing and stuff like that too. So, and everybody still loves Flip Flop Dave, so we're gonna book them again for next year and maybe try to theme it up a little bit more.
Questions on Eunice and Ellis? All right, let's move on. Trail map.
So I actually have the most updated one here. Pull up on here for you. I have to show you the smaller version. There we go. So we found this company out of Europe, and I think it's one guy, and he usually does like RV parks. And we were wanting like a map that was a little bit cartoony and kind of playful. So we ended up talking to him, and he gave me prices back, and I was kind of like, this is so cheap. And so I was like, why don't you give me one first? You know, I'll do one map with you, so then I'm not out any money if he's, you know, awful. But then he came back with pretty much a map and, you know, what we're looking to do with all of our maps. So, and he'll do changes. He said if not for free, any changes we have, it'll be like $20 or $30. So, and this is going to be awesome. We're going to have 6 maps. We're going to have like cutouts of the DAC. We'll have community gardens. We'll have Gary Aiken Park. We'll have Blanton Woods, Blanton House, and Jack Willard. That's all of our maps that we'll have available. And then we're going to link them to our website, but then we'll also have them available to kind of view as well. And we can put them in the rec guide. One of the big ones is Blanton Woods. All those trail markers we put out with all the numbers on them and stuff. Now we'll finally have a map with mileage and locations of all of them. So it'll be really cool, something that we've kind of been planning for a couple of years. Some of these things we kind of added into, like that trail that we want to put back here that we're looking at. And there's going to be that trail in the front lot here that will connect in. It's missing a couple things on here, like, yeah. Missing the second yellow slide. And these are backwards, and then swinging bridge probably needs to be a little bit more prominent. But for the most part, it's pretty good. It gets to the point, and push forward. Rotary's gonna hopefully pay the bill for us. Excited about that too.
Does he have the ability to click on some of these things that would link up to a Google Earth?
I've got another guy who does that, and he's like $5,000 for them. So once we have these and we live in them, I'd like to eventually do the interactive maps to where you can go over the train station and it shows you inside the train station. Or you can
Yeah.
do 3D like Realtor, use where you can walk through it. And we actually talked to Google Earth. They came in, got some pricing on them coming in and doing actual LinkedIn maps to their maps. And it was nice, but the value, I don't know that the value was there.
I mean, I didn't know if he could just put like one link that like took you down to Ellis Park or whatever on this map.
Yeah, I
Or
don't
we
know.
could even do that ourselves, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something to look at for sure. Biggest step is finally having a map.
Oh, yeah. Looks great.
Now people actually know where our office is. I always wondered what that building was. I always get that.
And then we have to tell them, because we don't actually have an address, it's like, just southwest of the pool on top of the sledding hill. Oh, yeah.
Turn left of the big oak.
Yeah, exactly.
Skate park.
Yeah, I had him change that to the storage. It's storage on here now. So, baby steps, but heading towards the right direction.
Looks good.
Questions? Moving forward. Let's move to cameras.
All right, cameras, just let you know that's gonna start happening in August. So they should be coming in and running lines, hopefully have it done. I think it's a 3-month project. So before the end of the year, we should have all that fixed and up and ready to go, so. And then probably next year or the year after that, we're gonna have to look at the park, probably. You know, following the same system, using the same function, and, because we have our own little systems, but now we can start hooking them to the bigger system so that the police can use it, and just kind of streamline everything.
All right, let's move on to roofing.
Pretty much already did that one. Pretty much all the roofing's gonna start in 3 weeks.
Okay.
So it's Blanton, Shelter 2, a little bit of gazebo, pool, Public Works, 2 buildings, fence at wastewater.
Questions,
Not
discussion on
super
roofing?
exciting, but it is for me.
Shelter Two's across the bridge, right?
Yeah, the one with the blue tarp on it.
Okay.
Yeah. And then
You mentioned something about getting rid of either the dormers or.
Shelter 1, yeah.
Shelter 1.
Shelter 1, we need to look at possibly getting rid of the dormers because we have so much vandalism.
Right.
When they built it, they built a rafter so low that you could stand on a picnic table and get, then they kick out the windows and then they hang out on the roof. So it's been a problem for probably the past 10 years. They still break them.
Oh, don't worry, there hasn't been windows in it for a long time.
Yeah, and then we replaced them with plexiglass, and it's too much. So we're
Okay.
looking at ways to maybe, or we talked about maybe we just block in the inside, so it still visually looks like dormers from the outside. But then you still have the window issue, because if you put a window in there, they're just gonna knock it out from the outside. So it really should have been about 3 or 4 feet higher, and it wouldn't have been as much.
10 volts.
Yeah, we put a fake camera up there. I don't know if it's really done it. They're probably gonna break that.
We might know someone has some really slick oil we could put up there.
We thought about actually greasing the, but then we're like, our luck, somebody will grab it, fall, and then we get sued. So
We have all kinds of
yeah, especially when
You just
not
watch
all
watch Home Alone. You get a lot of
yeah,
ideas.
exactly. Micro machines on the top. What do you think, Mom?
Right? Okay, we'll work on that one, I guess. Any other discussion on the roofing? All right, let's look at Steve Johnson Trail.
All right, I finally got a date for the unveiling of the trail. So Steve had requested August 17th at 6 p.m. And I'll send all of this out to you guys. And we'll do it pretty much the same way.
17th?
Yes, 17th, 6 p.m. So I thought about maybe, yeah, I think we'll just do it the same way. Maybe put some chairs out there. Not sure yet. There should be a pretty large crowd. It's this trail right here. Because he used to work right there, and he walked up and down that trail all the time for gym class, for football. Oh, summer park program. He did summer park.
He did
program for
basketball.
like 27
He was
years.
my JV high school basketball coach.
He used to do Gus Macker, I think, down there
And
too.
then he was the head girls basketball, high school basketball coach.
Yeah, so like everybody's walked up and down this trail with him. It's been fun. He's super excited. He already knows. So I'll give you kind of detail. Should be pretty much like the. Yes, way warmer, hopefully.
That's a Sunday night, correct?
August.
Oh, it's 17th.
Yeah, it
It's
should
a
be
Monday night. I'm sorry.
I tried to team it up with the council meeting so we could do that thing, but he had all kinds of stuff going on. He's coaching.
No, yeah, a normal one. Yeah, who changed that, by the way?
What time is it, 6?
We had to-
6 p.m.
We had to change our park board, I think, because of that too, if I recall. Okay, any other conversations with Steve Johnson, Trip? Okay, let's move on to the DAC update.
With that, I just wanted to give you a kind of an update on numbers. We are down a little bit. We did do our first draws of auto withdrawal again in July 2nd. So we've only brought in as of June 1st was 58,000, and we would have normally been somewhere in the 100 and some thousand. So with us picking back up, I see probably like a quarter of our revenue loss. But I think if you look at it big picture, we also took down that wall and saved $45,000. So it's probably a wash. We would have never been able to do that. This wouldn't have happened. So I kind of look at it as we only lost that little bit back in. It's a good and bad.
Okay.
So my just personal observation is it doesn't seem like
Yeah.
the time's on.
We are down a little bit actually because we had a lot of job loss and then a lot of home gyms being built at the same time. So I think we'll probably get the home gyms back come October and November. But and hopefully those job loss too. Like once the economy okay or now, but once it kind of COVID thing starts to go away, I think people will start getting back into their routines and
November. But the improvement is so much better.
yeah, it's just huge, isn't it?
So
And we've got a couple of things. We just got to find time to kind of finish up some pieces of that. But we're kind of just chipping at the iceberg wherever we can. Nate did some flooring. We're going to bring some of the flooring in stuff and kind of spruce those up a little bit.
Great. Good conversation, DAC update. Okay, let's move on to financials year-to-date.
So this time, since we had all that craziness with numbering last time,
Yep.
I just printed you out exactly what Brenda sends me. And so, I mean, you can kind of see some of those on the percentage side of the problems. See some of the pool receipts. So the only thing, let's see here. So this is as kind of like 30th, so it's the end of June, so we progressed quite a bit. This is super accurate and to date, but it's the last one I have for the end of the month because I always get the end of the month and the beginning of the next month, and I like to use that at these board meetings. So for the most part, a lot of these, the pool numbers are a lot higher than what they show here. You can kind of see the rental income. First page there. Parks and Rec fund. See where we're already at. Almost 50,000 as of June 30th. I think we're at 18 something already, so we've already like surpassed the goal, and that's what I was telling you. We're going to be really good in that. Salary and wages. See the rental refunds at 5,215, so that's some of those expenses. I still think we'll be right at that 18,000 by the end.
I reviewed these. It didn't seem like anything was out of ordinary considering the circumstances we're in. But does anybody else have any comments or questions once they reviewed these?
The last one probably is the rec income.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, that one's probably the biggest one that's not going to come out of the COVID-19.
Out of the hole.
Yeah, but we aren't gonna have as many expenses in that either, you know, if we're not.
Yep.
That's gonna be a rough year for the rec. He's already stressing about it.
Questions or comments? Mr. Liaison. We have went through the agenda. Do I hear a motion to adjourn? Or wait, do we have any other answer questions from the board? Do we wanna- Mr. Liaison. Any comments from the audience?
Can I make a motion to adjourn?
Have a motion to adjourn, first and second, all in favor? Aye. Meeting is adjourned.